G'day ladies and gentlemen, ScottyD here from the Australia's Tabletop Wargaming Network, and welcome into another installment in our Wargaming Highlights series. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the ATWN for another installment in our Wargaming Highlights series, which is our Battle Report series here on the ATWN, where myself, or maybe some others, document their games that they have been playing as of late in a competitive setting, or maybe in a more chill setting as well. So for today's Wargaming Highlights video, before we jump into the actual content itself, it's a game of 2,000 points competitively, where I'm playing against Josh, who is using Adeptus Custodes, and I'm using my Deathwatch army list, my Black Spear task force that I've been working on as of late, with that slight tweak that I talked about in the last video for the Wargaming Highlights series, that I am trying something new out there that I'll get to in a second. But before we jump into the meat and potatoes of today's video, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank each and every one of you for supporting us here on YouTube. Whether you've been liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing to the channel, really do appreciate you guys and your support of the network and the work that we are doing both here on YouTube and on Twitch, and what we're doing for the Australian Warhammer 40k competitive scene in terms of streaming, competitive tournaments, and such as well. And it's awesome to have your support in doing so. So to get into it for today's video, I teed up a game at my new place after having moved in and settled for about a month to 6 weeks, finally to be able to get a game of Warhammer 40k in at my new place against Josh, who is one of the guys that I've met through one of the local game stores here, Grimdark Gaming, where, you know, we've played a game previously where I played against his Chaos Knights, and this time I've got a chance to play up against his Custodes, or his Adeptus Custodes, going into my Deathwatch Black Spear task force. Now, the list has not really changed. Both lists are down in the description below, and we do run through them in the preamble for the game, and I did make that slight change, and I am testing out some Inceptors instead of the Predator Annihilator. So I decided, let's see how the Inceptors go, let's see what they're able to do for me, and we can kind of go from there. And so you'll be able to see what they actually do for me in this game, and then when we come back after it, I'm actually going to share my thoughts on what I think about that change, and, you know, what I might need to do, or maybe test out another change and things like that. So let's jump over to the gaming table and see how things go for this epic battle.
G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Australia's Tabletop Wargaming Network for another Wargaming Highlights video, and today I am playing up against my opponent Josh. How you doing, mate?
Howdy.
Great to have you on the channel. And so for today, we've got the Deathwatch Black Spear Task Force up against the Adeptus Custodes Shield Host. Going to be a really interesting game. So I'm going to run you through my list, as you guys are probably familiar with. We've got the Watchmaster there, who's got the Tome of Ectoclades as my Warlord with the Lord of the Seed ability. We've got the Apothecary Biologist with the Beacon Angelus, so Deep Strike for him and his unit, and Rapid Ingress for 0 CP, giving lethal hits to his unit as well, and then just a standard Lieutenant. We've then got 5 Infiltrators with Healer's Gauntlet Comms Array, 2 units of 5 Assault Intercessors with Jump Packs with Power Fists and Plasma Pistols. Then got the 10 melee Deathwatch Veterans with 4 Deathwatch Thunderhammers, a Xenophase Blade, 5 Long Vigil melee weapons, and 6 Storm Shields. The 10 Sternguard Vets with 10 Bolt Rifles and a Power Fist on the Sergeant in there. Really lots of firepower coming out of them. We've then got the 2 units of 5 Deathwatch Vets with Infernus Heavy Bolters, 2 of them in the unit, Long Vigil melee weapons on the regular guys, Xenophase Blades on the Sergeants, and then Bolters for the rest. We're then testing out a unit of 3 Inceptors with Bolters, so they put out 3 shots each, Assault, Pistol, and Sustained Hits 2. It's Strength 5, -1, 2 damage, so close range heavy bolters, which is going to be really interesting to see. We then got 6 Eradicators, and yes, the Blade Guard are subbing in for my yet-to-arrive missing Eradicators, with their 2 multi-melters in that unit. We then got the 3 Centurion Devastators with twin las cannons, Centurion missile launchers. We got the Whirlwind in there, pretty staple, and then once again the Storm Raven is proxying as a Corvus Black Star. So that's got twin las cannons, the Storm Strike missiles, a Hurricane Bolter, and then ignores cover for its other upgrade as well. And so Josh, do you want to walk us through your list, mate?
Yeah, Scotty, no worries, mate. So 2k of Shield Host today with my Custodes. We'll have a unit of 5 with a Chirodraxis, Custodian Guard. Another group of 4 Custodian Guard with a Blade Champ, with the Panapex, which basically gives them ignores cover with shooting. A group of 5 Wardens with a Blade Champ with an Auric Mantle, so he gets 2 extra wounds. One group of 3 Ulrus Terminators by themselves. Another group of 3 with a shield captain who will be the warlord with the Castellan's mark, and then some little group of sisters there at the back just to hang around at the backfield, and then yeah, 2 grab tanks as well with the Arachnus heavy blaze, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting game between these forces. The mission we are playing is Crucible of Battle, Inspired Leadership, and it was Scorched Earth. So we're going to see how this mission goes for these 2 armies. We're going to come back after we set up objectives and deployment, and we'll continue from there. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, so we've just finished off with deployment. Josh won the roll-off and elected for me to be the defender. So I'll walk through my deployment first, starting from right to left. We've got a unit of Assault Intercessors with jump packs on this flank. We've then got a unit of 5 Deathwatch Veterans on the home objective with the Whirlwind on the other side. We've then got the melee brick right next to the Corvus Black Star. On this side, we've then got another 5 Deathwatch Veterans just holding this back line. Screening out a little bit with 3 Centurions there, then another 5 Assault Intercessors, and then Infiltrated. The Infiltrators as one of my last deployments, so really screening things out. We've got the Interceptors and the Eradicators in Deep Strike, along with also the Stern Guard in the Corvus. So that is it for my deployment. Josh, do you want to walk through yours?
Yeah, sure, Scotty. So left to right, got one of my Caladius there. We've got Kyra Draxus and her guard unit. Then we have one of the Blade Champs and the Wardens in there tucked in with another one of my grab tanks. We have some sisters here just towing onto the home field objective. And then I've got another unit of my Custodian Guard with Blade Wizard there as well, with my 2 lots of Terminators up in Deep Strike.
Yeah, so it's going to be a really, really spicy game. So Josh, if I get this right, good luck, mate.
Yeah, mate.
Let's have some fun, and let's see who is going to get first turn. If I get one of the dice out. I got a 3.
4.
Custodes are going to go first. So over to Custodes turn 1, and we'll be back with you shortly, ladies and gentlemen. Alrighty, so we're at the bottom of Josh's turn 1. Do you want to walk us through what you did?
Yeah, no worries, Scotty. So I drew Cleanse and Engage on all fronts, so come up a bit short for Engage, so I'll get rid of that for CP.
Which is with this unit up the
Yeah,
top
with
here.
the guard, and only need an extra inch, but anyway. Yeah, so advance the guard here, they move forward. Just move this grab tank into the ruins there. Advance both my Wardens and guard units over here where the other grab tank is, and this grab tank towed on for Cleanse, so bit of a cagey, soft turn 1. But we'll see
Yeah, really, really interesting turn 1. So now it's going to be over the Deathwatch to see what reprisal we can muster up against the Custodes. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, so it's the bottom of turn 1 with the Deathwatch having gone second. So the secondaries I got was Cleanse and Containment. So we moved up the Assault Intercessors and the Infiltrators on that side, and they both did Containment. The Assault Intercessors did for this table edge, for this board edge, and then the Infiltrators did for the other one. So they were able to get those. Then these Assault Intercessors went for Cleanse in the center. Then there is a crater where the Custodes were. So I managed to roll a 5 on the advanced roll for the Deathwatch vets going in. I did put Oath of Moment onto that unit as well, so they copped some shooting from the Corvus and the Centurions as well, taking them down to 4, and then the Whirlwind went in as well, didn't do any damage there, but then the Hammers went in, killed the unit. The Watchmaster got the Blade Champ down to 2 wounds, and then the rest of the unit finished it off. Then the Corvus and the Centurions did get the first, it's blanking, it is the Caladius, down to 3 wounds. So that was pretty big, but yeah, still a lot left for the Custodes that we've got to contend with, and there is Deep Striking Allurus coming in now this turn. So really, really going to be interesting to see how the Deathwatch go for turn 2 and onwards, ladies and gentlemen. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, so that is the end of Josh's turn 2. Do you want to walk us through what your secondaries were and what you did?
Yeah, Scotty. So I drew Mark for Death and Established Locus. Of course, you being the gentleman that you were, Mark for Death, all up the back.
Yeah.
Which is pretty standard.
Went the Whirlwind, the Infiltrators, and the Assault Intercessors. So Mark for Death was not achieved and was discarded for a CP.
Yes. And then established locus, brought in some of my Allurus there on the edge for Scotty's deployment, so tucked them in there. And yeah, that's where we've got with my secondaries. For our primary, I'm attempting to scorch down here with the Wardens. Brought them up. Brought Kyra's guard unit up as well. Nothing's in range of any of her indirect. And moved my 2 Cladiuses around.
Yep.
Because the one that's hurting is probably not here for long. So yeah, targeted your Storm Chicken there.
Yep.
Sky Chicken. Got a couple of shots on. Done a little bit of ticking damage.
Yep.
And then just went total overkill on the last one and removed your unit from the centre objective.
Yeah, the assault intercessors that were on the middle objective are no more. So they have been sent from this world. So yeah, going to be really interesting. At the end of your turn, I will spend the 1 CP to pick up 2 kill team units. I am going to pick up... I'm actually going to pick up the 2 5-man units down over here, is what I'm going to do. So we'll pick those guys up, and then we'll get into my turn for turn 2, ladies and gentlemen. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, so that is the end of Deathwatch turn 2, and it was the go turn. Sustained hits got turned on, tome got turned on, all the things. So we had the Allurus Custodians down here as the first tome target, but really there wasn't any solid second choices for tome, so we decided to put it on the Sisters of Silence that are at the back there, that were there, and they're no longer there. The Whirlwind did its job over there and got rid of those. I deep struck the Inceptors within 3 inches, using their ability to get on that objective. I did draw Storm Hostile objective and engage North Fronts. Now, I did scuff up my deployment of the Eradicators, meaning that I didn't get all 4 quarters for engage. But the Eradicators came down and they dealt with 1 Caladius. Then the Centurions managed to deal with the second Caladius that was on 3 wounds. And then the Stern Guard popped out and killed the Allurus Custodians down to just the brother, not a brother captain, it's just a captain.
Yeah, shield captain.
Shield captain. That is left. The Corvus then was standing around doing nothing, had nothing to shoot at, and then kind of screened out the rest of the backfield with units to hopefully protect from the other unit of Allurus Custodians that could potentially come down during this turn, or Josh could rapid ingress them during my turn 3. So it's going to be really interesting. The score currently is 24-16 my way. Now, Josh will actually successfully burn this objective here for another 5 points, taking that 21-24 at the start of the next turn. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the rest of this game continues. And yeah, keen to see how it unfolds. Alrighty, so that's the end of the top of turn 3, I should say. Josh, do you want to walk through what your secondaries were and what you did?
Yeah, Scotty, so I had Bring It Down and Area Denial, which both weren't fantastic. Obviously lost my big hitting pieces being my Grav Tank, so yeah, your Corvus there is safe for the time being. Area Denial, yeah, obviously it's a bit of a contest at the moment, but we're going to hang on to that, so I sunk Bring It Down. I deep struck my Allurus Custodians here in the back, to come down and do some punching there.
Yeah, they killed the Inceptors. So the Inceptors, as you can see, are no more. So basically, they were a very expensive scoring unit for me. But the 3-inch deep strike was clutch to be able to get Storm Hostile and take Josh's home during that turn.
Then shifted my Warden and Guard units into a bit of a firing line there for the centre of objective. Activated double shooting for my guard with Miss Draxus there. Managed to soften up your intercessors.
Eradicators,
sorry. In there in the middle. Done a little bit. Wardens, yeah, tried. Failed terribly on their charge, even with the reroll.
Yeah.
And then my Warlord Shield Captain there. Done some shooting as well. But managed to pull off a decent charge to get in the middle. Managed to drop a couple more, but yeah, anyway, we're locked in combat now, so...
Yeah, the Eradicators did overwatch the captain when he moved closer and managed to get him down to 4 wounds. thanks to the tome still being active, was sustained. Josh was very good on his saves, passed 3 out of 4 of the wounds. And so, yeah, being able to get 1 damage through to get 3 wounds put on him was really solid. So it's going to go into the Deathwatch turn 3. I'm not going to pick anything up at the end of Josh's turn, so we're going to go from there. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, so that is the bottom of turn 3. This game is really interesting. So I managed to draw Secure No Man's Land and Behind Enemy Lines for the Deathwatch. So what happened was I fell back out of combat with the Lone Eradicator with the Apothecary Biologus, kept the Deathwatch veterans there. We moved up the Centurions on that side, and then down over here we moved up the Assault Intercessors onto Josh's deployment zone, so they were able to score Behind Enemy Line for me. The Stern Guard vets advanced up and were able to do a decent amount of shooting into the Wardens that were there with the Blade Champion before the melee brick advanced across and went into combat. The Custodian Guard then heroic intervened with Kyrie Draxus going into my Deathwatch unit, who have left the Watchmaster because they've all died, and the Watchmaster is live on 4 wounds in that combat. The Corvus managed to kill the Allurus shield captain with just the Hurricane Bolter, which was kind of gnarly, but he got it there. So not too much left on either side at this point. I think, well, so yes, I've got the pieces. It's, there's still 3 Allurus Terminators to be dealt with down the back here, as well as the full unit from Kyrie Draxus that we need to handle. So it's going to be very interesting going into Josh's turn 4. So the current score is 42-21, the Deathwatch's way at this stage. So let's go into turn 4. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, so that is the end of the Custodes turn 4. Do you want to walk us through what objectives you ended up drawing and what you managed to do during this turn, Josh?
Yeah, Scotty. So I ended up drawing, mate, recover assets and behind enemy lines. The way that the dice go with me, it was never going to happen. So yeah, end up getting rid of recover assets. I'll head on to behind enemy lines just in case I somehow manage to survive.
Yep.
What's about to come at me.
Yep.
So yeah, brought my Allurus out through. Still towed onto the objective there just to try and keep my score ticking over ever so slightly.
Yep.
And then we targeted your
Watch veterans.
Yeah, veterans there.
Who no longer exist.
Yeah, popped a CP for Architect munitions, gave myself sustained, and just made sure I took them out.
Yep.
I left the other unit there just in case I could maybe get a cheeky charge.
Yep.
That wasn't going to happen, and it didn't happen, but that's all right. And then obviously we had our prolonged combat there.
Yep. Whilst the Watch Captain was able to finish off another Custode, before even sustained hits happened, the Watchmaster was dead. So yeah, that was an absolute brutal combat there, but those Deathwatch vets claimed 2 units on their own.
Yes, they done well.
So they did really well. So now it's going to go into Deathwatch turn number 4, and we shall see what happens here, ladies and gentlemen. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. So that is the end of Deathwatch turn 4. So the secondaries I got was Assassination and Sabotage. So Kyrie Draxus' unit was the last character unit alive, and so we went Oath over there. And then the Centurions, the Whirlwind, and then the Stern Guard went in and finished off Kyrie Draxus' unit in full. The Stern Guard were in sustained as well, because I put them in there. Then the Corvus managed to kill one of the Allurus. We've got the Eradicators sitting on that objective. The Infiltrators are actually sitting up the back here, burning that objective if they get the chance. And then there is also the Assault Intercessors who are now on the objective, controlling that because one of the Custodian Allurus Terminators is gone. And so they've got control of that and are also trying to sabotage. So we'll see how that goes in the top of turn 5 for Josh, and we'll come back at the end of the game. So we'll be back with you shortly, team. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, so that is the end of the game. So currently, Josh did choose to teleport his Allurus over to here with the Whirlwind. He did get the charge off, got onto the objective, denied me some primary there, and just having units on my home field, which worked out really well because I then draw from my secondaries, marked for death, and no prisoners. So that meant that with them being the last unit on the battlefield, I had to kill them to score 10 points, which I didn't. So really solid game. I did end up burning Josh's home with the assault intercessors up the back there, so it netted me the final points I needed on primary. So overall in the score, Josh ended up scoring 29 points to my 83. Josh, thanks for the game, mate.
Thanks, Scotty.
Really solid.
Yeah.
You said you had a few takeaways from the game. So what would you say those would be?
Remembering Miss Drax's lone operative psychic ability in your command phase.
Yep.
Probably would have swung things and stopped your Centurions and Corvus obliterating them.
Well, the Corvus didn't go into them that turn. It was the turn before that the Corvus did
but
some
again,
shots.
Something to remember, definitely 100% for the command phase with that ability anyway.
Yep,
remember that
because they were down here.
Yeah, turns 1 and 2, forgot my shooting strat to get either lethal or sustained, which again probably potentially would have had a little bit more impact earlier on. Don't know, it's good to talk about it now though.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe just being a little bit more, use a bit more aggressive with trying to get up the board, but still trying to be mindful of what secondaries I might or might not draw is one of those things. You're either damned if you do or damned if you don't.
Yep, definitely agree. I think for me, there were some big takeaways. I think the way that I deployed the Eradicators, so having them being in multiple quarters, stopped me from getting full points on engage. I think I threw away the right units at the right time, so throwing the assault intercessors on the middle objective to get cleanse kind of brought you out a little bit. Which made you to commit, which then allowed me to then commit in the back. I think holding back a little bit with the Corvus, particularly with the Stern Guard, just waiting to see what would happen during your turn 2 was a bit of a smart play, even though it meant I didn't kill the Caladius in a single turn. I think also being able to knock them both out in a single turn well was really solid. I was quite happy with that with the Eradicators. Outside of that, I think it was just, the game went the way that the game did, and it was great fun, and it was great to have you on, Josh. Thanks for playing, and we'll definitely get you on at some point again in the future.
Yeah, mate, no, look forward to it.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, well, there you have it. Such a great game with Josh up against the Adeptus Custodes with the Deathwatch, and I really did enjoy playing up against him. Really gave me some challenging situations to really consider and think about and ponder in terms of how I was going to engage. But I really think that during the game I did make some great choices in being able to, really utilize the game pieces that I had on the table up against the Custodes. Now, as I said, I did end up winning the game 83-29 without battle ready in there for either of us. So if it was battle ready, it'd be 93-39. So I just typically don't have the battle ready score going during these practice games or anything like that. Just keep it purely scores to keep it nice and simple. So yeah, it was really solid. Got some great objective draws when I needed them. Josh being able to deny my final 7 points on secondaries going into round 5 was really rough, drawing no prisoners and marked for death, meaning that I couldn't kill those last 2 Alurus Custodians. Meant it did actually stop me from scoring 90, which is kind of big. I did get a lot of great draws throughout the game though, and Josh did put up a really good fight. I just, going second up against Custodes meant that he had to expose what he was doing. Rather than me exposing my units and him reacting, I could do the opposite and be able to really take advantage of that. Now, in the game, I didn't utilize the Inceptors the best I could. I did see about positioning them in a way that would be effective and protect them to be able to do something the following turn. However, that didn't happen. The Inceptors, had to be deployed on the other side of that ruined wall in Josh's backfield on the home objective still, though, away from those Sisters of Silence. So I wasn't able to kill them with that, but I did kill them with the Whirlwind and be able to do the damage there. But they really didn't do anything other than stop some scoring of primary. So I'm going to still test them out, but I'm going to see how I go. We are expecting the Imperial Agents Codex in the next few weeks. It is going up for pre-order this coming weekend. So it might mean that the Deathwatch kind of gets shafted a little bit, or this list might look a lot different going forward as well. So I'm not really certain what it's actually going to look like for the Deathwatch going forward with this list, whether we're still going to have the Black Spear Task Force, whether I'm going to have to go entirely back to the drawing board with what I'm able to do with my Deathwatch, or maybe do I just steer back into Vanilla Marines and see what I can do there, which I'm not really a big fan of. I'd rather stick with the Deathwatch and really focus on that, but if they're becoming Imperial Agents, I'm not really jiving too well with their rules at this stage in terms of integrating them into Space Marines to the way that they are. I'm not certain they're going to have the effect that I think they should have, and you know, I'm not too thrilled about it, to be honest. So we'll talk about that a bit more in future content, because I'm going to reserve my full thoughts and sharing that with you guys a lot more once we actually have Imperial Agents go over the rules and share my thoughts on it, on how you can play Deathwatch going forward. But that is it for today's video for Wargaming highlights, ladies and gentlemen. Alrighty everyone, thank you so much for watching today's video. Really appreciate you guys coming and hanging out and watching some great Warhammer 40k that I had against Josh. Josh was a wonderful opponent, great to play up against him again, and really did have a great time at home being able to play 40k, and hopefully from now on I'll be able to have some more games at home and be able to get some more regular battle reports to you guys as well. Now, if you did enjoy the content, feel free to hit a like on the video. If you have any feedback, feel free to leave it down in the comments below. And if you did enjoy what you see here and you want to catch more content from us here at the ATWN, feel free to hit the channel with a subscription and turn on that notification bell so you're able to be notified as to when we are creating more content here on the network, whether it's more Wargaming highlights, tournament coverage, tournament previews, ITC South Pacific snapshots, and a whole host of other content that we are looking to create going forward as well. And I also want to thank everyone who has also been jumping across to Twitch over at the Australis TWN channel, where you can join us for live hobbying sessions every week, as well as where we do our tournament previews. We may even be back to doing the ITC South Pacific snapshots live next year and such as well, which is going to be absolutely phenomenal. And you know, it's always great to see you guys live, hang out, do hobby, chat about news and up-to-date events for you guys as well. Now, before we wrap up for today's video, I want to thank everyone who does financially support us, whether that is on Twitch, whether that's on YouTube as a YouTube member, or if you are a Ko-Fi member as well, where you guys and your financial support really does help us, you know, cover our costs as a business, as well as invest in more gear and upgrading our gear. But ladies and gentlemen, if you do want to financially support us, you can do so on Twitch as a subscriber there. Twitch does take 50% of that. YouTube, you can do it as a member for either $4.99 or $9.99 Australian dollars. So if you're in the US, it's going to be considerably cheaper for you as well, or any other parts of the world. And you know, YouTube does take 30% of that, or we do have the same tiers of the $5 and $10 tiers over at Ko-Fi, where we only lose about 5 to 10%. So whichever platform you prefer to support us on, we do really appreciate it if you wish to do so, but no pressure at all if you do not want to do so, or you are unable to due to the times we're in. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope to catch you in the next one.